In 1984, an Avianca airliner was flying in heavy cloud cover, and the metallic voice of the automatic warning system was saying, "Pull up, pull up, pull up." The pilot, thinking it was malfunctioning, snapped, "Shut up, Gringo," and turned it off. The plane then smashed into a mountain, killing everyone on board. That story is a perfect illustration of what is happening to the human conscience in America. God creates each of us with a conscience to warn us about sin so that we don't crash and burn. But instead of listening to our God-given conscience, we listen to the world, which tells us that guilt feelings are bad, bad, bad. Well, here's a wild bill bullet of truth for America. God-given guilt is the warning system that tells you to pull up, pull up, pull up. Physical pain is a warning that something's wrong in your body. A guilty conscience is a warning that there is sin in your life that must be confessed and repented of before it destroys your life and sends you to hell. The world says, no, guilt is not a sin problem. It's a psychological problem that needs to be treated with therapy and medication. God-given guilt is reclassified as an illness. Guilt-burdened people are often labeled as victims of circumstance instead of sinners in need of regeneration. Without the conscience, any crime is permissible. Mobs who smash store windows and loot the businesses are told that that's really just reparations, and because of slavery, they deserve it. Screaming at and cursing your parents is acceptable because they're behind the times and don't need to be obeyed because they don't understand modern life. Probably the greatest God-given guilt today is in those who follow the LGBT lifestyle, living in rebellion against their creator, against their own biology, and against society norms. The suicide attempt rate of transgenders is 41%, and the world says that the answer to that is more transgenderism. God says the answer is recognizing sin and turning away from it. Here is God's prescription for curing that problem. Repent and believe the gospel. That opens the door for God's supernatural power to change hearts and lives and to save the soul from death. Well, here's the greatest danger when it comes to your conscience. If you ignore it long enough, it will stop talking to you. You will no longer have a warning system to guide you in this life. The Bible in Romans chapter 1 describes this as God handing men over to a debauched mind. And when God hands you over, that means you are doomed. The offer of salvation is withdrawn. There is no longer any hope of escaping eternity in hell. Why is it that the Christian church in America is not sounding the alarm on this? Sadly, because most churches have more faith in psychobabble counselors than they do in God. Also, most churches are deathly afraid of the mobs that promise to come against any church that dares to speak against their evil agendas. American churches simply don't want the hassle that often comes from preaching what God says about sin. This is Wild Bill for America saying, think about it. Thank you for watching, and America bless God.